What's your favorite scary movie?
Pop Culture with Pat here with Courtney Halverson today, talking about her upcoming film Consumed. Thank you so much for your time today, Courtney, and great to meet you.
Hi, Pat. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. So, just to kind of to start things off, what was it about the script, but also the character of Beth that, initially drew you to the project in the first place?
Right. I think with this one, the script is what drew me in. I didn't know specifically where this film was going to go in terms of the full plot. So I think I approached it in the similar way that most actors do, where I really only had a brief portion of the script to work with initially. Um, it was a time where you just put yourself on tape, you send it in, and you hope for the best. I think what was really different for me with this one is the small amount of pages I had. I was immediately captivated, and I immediately desperately wanted this role. So it was one that I just did not let go of, where I was like, where is this at? When is this going into production? What is the word? How is it going? Like, I wanted to be Beth so badly. I think it's because she's a character that's obviously suffered quite a bit. There's a lot of themes of grief and of suffering in this film. And a lot of that centers on our star Beth. So it's she's a character I wanted to explore.
Now, were you familiar at all with Wendigo lore at all? Is that something that you knew about going into the film, or did you do kind of any research into that after, you started working on the project, or?
You know what? A little bit. I listened to a couple different podcasts that are kind of horror based, so that was sort of my understanding of it. I chose from the outset to not do a ton of research on the creature in this, mostly because when Beth is finally faced with this, what is this in the woods? It is shocking, and it is something that she really just doesn't know what she's dealing with. So I wanted to have that element there. It does make it easy in a case like this where the actual, the creature itself is truly horrifying. So it made my job very easy.
And I mean, too, there's like so many different variations on the lore as well. So
Right.
I feel like that probably the best approach is to kind of go in pretty, fresh, like overall. And it was so watching the film, it was a pretty physical role for you, running through the woods, climbing things, getting chased by, creatures. What kind of prep did you do to play for the role?
Yeah, I mean, this is probably my most physical role to date. For this one, I really heavily relied on our stunts team. We had an amazing stunt coordinator led by DJ Rostenberg, who's this just brilliant woman. I mean, she's worked on every single TV show, every film that you can think of. She's just incredibly talented. So she really led me through what things I was going to be able to do myself, what things I could do safely, because so much of the film really is me. There's not a ton of times where we are able to double me. Of course, there are times where it's not me, and thank goodness, because there's a lot of things that I couldn't necessarily do. But yeah, in terms of this one, it was really just on the ground. You're in the woods. Everything that you see, I mean, we really were just in the woods. So all of those moments where I'm running, as difficult as it was for me, dodging the branches and crawling and digging and things like this, there's still someone right behind me with a much heavier, camera that's keeping pace the entire time, and in some cases going faster than me.
Yeah, so I gotta say God bless to the people carrying the cameras and stuff like that. That is definitely not an easy job to do, especially when you're in an area where you have branches and stuff just
Oh
flying at
yeah.
you all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, we had an
And
amazing camera department.
this isn't your obviously your first time, jumping into the horror genre. So I'm curious for you, what is it that keeps you coming back to the horror genre for more?
You know what? And I've asked this a lot to myself because I can't figure out what it is about my face that says cover her in blood, drag her around, goop, all those things. There's something in my eyes that says that. And the second that I figure it out, I'm gonna either capitalize on it or just suddenly move into like the romance genre. Maybe like completely switch gears. But yeah, I've worked in horror since I was fairly young. This is one of the first times that I'm really getting to play an adult. I think I've played a teenager for a long time in a lot of these films. It's a lot of young teen couple or high school kids. So this was an interesting challenge in that way of like presenting a relationship and getting to play closer to my actual age.
And this is there's so many different things too that you can do in the horror genre. A lot of like opportunities to tell different kind of stories. I feel like almost compared to some of the other genres out there as well, which makes it, really exciting just to come at it from a different angle. And you got to work with another horror vet yourself here, Devon Sawa. So had to ask you, what was it like working with him, and what about his performance that he brought to the table that you feel that made you elevate your performance in the film as well?
Right. I mean, I'm glad you said that made me want to elevate my performance because the second that I met Devin and the second that we started working together, all I could think is how do I match this energy? Like how can I match this level of commitment and his ability to look at the script, see how far it's going, and then push it that much further. I mean, he's brilliant. He's obviously worked, for a very long time, not only, in the horror genre, but in general, he's just been an actor that you have been aware of, for his entire life, really. Um, he is incredibly giving as a scene partner. And not only that, there's a lot of trust that had to be built up between us because it is, without giving too much away, it is a very physical dynamic between the two of us. And finding someone that you trust and that you're willing to push it further with and to have that feel safe to really explore was really amazing.
And did you guys talk about? I know obviously the focus is on this film, but did you guys discuss any of your previous like horror films that you have worked on in the past, or was it pretty much just the focus on the initial film here?
No, the focus really for this one was on this film. I think for the most part, I was just trying to not fangirl over him over some of the roles that I know him from when I was a kid. So I was mostly just trying to play it cool and be like, let's focus on what we're here to do. No, he's a very focused actor, so he really gave himself over to his character, and I think it shows.
Yeah, so I got to meet him not it was actually like last year. It was like at a convention or something like that. And just the couple minutes that I got to interact with him, he seemed like a wonderful, human being just overall.
Yeah,
Now,
he's rad. He's a really rad guy.
playing this character in this role, has it changed your opinion at all on going hiking or anything like that in the future? Just you never know what's going to be out there, in the woods, especially on these long hikes.
Yes. I will say I don't think that I've been camping since, and I used to go camping quite a bit. There's something about this film that really, it's that growing dread that you feel like in the pit of your stomach. I think the audience like gets to feel that the entire time, like right alongside Beth. But yeah, I don't know that I'll be going into the woods in the evening anytime soon after this one.
No, that makes sense. And just to wrap things up for you, Courtney, is there anything else that you would like to say to fans that are going to be getting ready to check this film out, when it comes out, next week?
You know what, I will say it is a very unique film in the sense that there's a lot of heart behind this one, a lot of heart to the characters, and there's a lot of themes that are really present throughout with all three of our characters, not only just between Beth, but between Beth and her husband Jay. There's a lot of conflict there and scenes like that I think we don't necessarily always get to see in horror films. And I think as an actor and then as an audience member, that's something that I really love to see is those diving into the themes of loss and of grief and of suffering. And yeah, it's a fun one in some ways.
Oh, it is for sure. Yeah, I can't wait for everyone to check it out. Courtney, I just want to say thank you so much for your time today. It was wonderful getting to talk to you about the film. Excited for audiences to check it out, and hope to talk to you again in the future.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Pat.